Hey everybody, Kevin Housley coming at you with some more firefighter specific breathing resources brought to you this month by Terrible Mustaches. So we're going to talk about the breathing gears. We have 5 different breath gears that we can use. And the biggest thing with breath gears is just really becoming cognizant of how are we actually breathing? How are we breathing on medical calls? How are we breathing during training? And most importantly, how are we breathing when we're doing work on the fireground with all of our gear on in and out of our SCBA masks? The biggest thing we can do is just realize how we're breathing, then we can control how we're breathing, and we can increase our work output over longer periods of time. So the way that the breath gear works is there are 5 different ones, and we can progress through those breath gears just like you're driving a stick shift on your car. You can go up through those breath gears, and you can come back down through those breath gears. So breath gear number 1 is going to be a low intensity when we're sitting at the station, should be low intensity when we're staged on a call, should be low intensity when we're staged waiting for training evolutions. So the biggest thing we want to focus on in our first breath gear is breathing just through our nose only. That's going to be about 55% of my max heart rate, nose in and out only, and I'm going to be in a aerobic state. As I start to do work, I'm going to quickly transition into gear number 2. It's still going to only be through my nose, but my exhale through my nose is going to be a little bit more forceful. This is a really good thing when we're warming up, getting ready for a tactical fitness workout, that we can intentionally train, hey, how am I breathing? I can get into that gear 1, gear 2, and I can work through these methods as I'm warming up. Gear number 2 is going to be low to moderate intensity, 55 to 65% of my max heart rate. I'm still going to be in an aerobic state, nose in, nose out. Really blowing that CO2 that my muscles are producing out. Gear number 3, we start to increase our intensity. So what we see a lot of times is people get to gear number 3 really, really quick once we actually put them in SCBA and all of their bunker gear. My heart rate is 65 to 75% of its max, and I'm breathing in through my nose, but now I have to open my mouth because I have enough CO2 that my muscles are producing that I got to get rid of that. So I'm breathing in through my nose, and I'm breathing out through my mouth in a controlled fashion. Now I work up to gear number 4, higher intensity. This is going to be a very high intensity, and we should be able to train where we're able to operate most of the time in this gear number 4. I'm still breathing in through my nose, and I'm breathing out through my mouth, but it's a very, very forceful exhalation. So I'm working hard. Tactical fitness workouts are a fantastic place to really, really, really push yourself and try really hard to stay in this gear number 4. Gear number 4 puts me 75 to 90% of my heart rate max. I'm in my anaerobic state, and like we mentioned, in through the nose, power out through the mouth, get rid of that CO2. As that workout or that victim drag in training or that victim drag on the fireground or the ladder throw, whatever's going on, and they're really, really working and you're in your full gear, a lot of people are going to be mouth breathers really, really quick. That's gear number 5. We're still in an anaerobic state, but it's a very short amount of work that we can do in this state. If we are in our air pack with our mask on and our regulator clipped in, our bottles are going to go away very, very quickly in this scenario. So it's going to be mouth only, so a mouth in and a mouth out. The one thing that when we're in gear 5 we really want to focus on is a very forceful exhalation. I'm dumping CO2, and the goal is I want to get back down to gear number 4 if at all humanly possible. So I'm breathing through my mouth. I'm breathing down low in my diaphragm. You'll see in that example there, my chest is still rising, but I'm breathing really, really, really hard. But we want to transition out of gear number 5 as fast as we possibly can. This should happen at 90% or above my maximum heart rate. So as I'm in gear 5 and now I get the victim outside, I want to transition from that mouth breathing back to that, back to my nose exhalation through my mouth. Then as fast as I can, I want to get back down to number 3. Controlled in through the nose, out through the mouth. Then I want to get back down to gear number 2 as fast as possible. And now I'm recovered. I'm ready to go back to work. I'm back at that 55 to 65% of my maximum heart rate. The best place that we've found to train this is on an Airdyne or a Rogue Echo bike. So on one of these bikes, you can attach your heart rate monitor, If you have a calculated maximum heart rate, that's fantastic. Use that for one of your fitness tests. If you don't, there's plenty of ways. If you just Google, how do I calculate my maximum heart rate? You can do that based on your age and formula that way. A great thing to do is to try to spend 1 minute in each of these gears. So 1 minute in level 1 on that air bike. Take a minute rest, recover, see what your heart rate is actually doing on that heart rate monitor. 1 minute in level 2, 1 minute rest. 1 minute in level 3, 1 minute rest. 1 minute in level 4, 1 minute rest. 1 minute in level 5 and 1 minute rest. What you're gonna find, especially in this 3 and 4, for those of us like myself who weren't nasal breathers before we started diving into a lot of this breathwork stuff, is it's gonna be very, very challenging, and that's great. You're pushing yourself. If you have to breathe through your mouth, that's okay. Transition to your mouth, just write that down. How long was I able to maintain, number 4, at that rough percentage of my maximum heart rate? That's 75 to 90% of my heart rate. And then you can calculate that over months and months and months of intentionally training this stuff. And don't ever forget, the fire service deserves better.